Easy winner last night on the Saints, capping a 4-1 long weekend in football and baseball combined that started Thursday with a top-rated 15-dime best bet on New England, hammering Indianapolis, continuing on Friday with a 10-dime underdog with the Brewers, plus $1.30 on the run line over Colorado. Saturday, 15-dime best bet Midnight Madness special, Hawaii outright over Wyoming. Sunday, unfortunately, took it on the chin. You do lose sometime. After all, it is gambling. There are no guarantees. As the Rams failed me for the first time this season after 4 straight winners involving LA, as they failed to cover at Seattle. But then again, as I said last night, easy winner on the Saints, another top-rated 15-dime best bet winner. And if you happen to get that pick from me last night, I was right on the money with my analysis. As I told you, that was a game that I had circled early on this season, as I anticipated the return of Mark Ingram. It would once again diversify the Saints offense, and of course Drew Brees ate up Washington's secondary. And another thing that I pointed out, and it's something to keep in mind as the season progresses. You know, Washington didn't want to pay Kirk Cousins the big money, so they went out and got Alex Smith. But as you saw, and as you've seen in the first 4 games of the season involving the Redskins, the Alex Smith the Redskins got is the same Alex Smith that the Kansas City Chiefs had. And the same problems that the Chiefs had with Smith directing their offense carried through to Washington. Smith is a very good game manager, and he's a very good quarterback, but he's not an explosive down the field quarterback. He's not going to stretch the field, and he has even fewer offensive weapons with him in Washington than he had in Kansas City. When Washington plays teams such as the Saints that have quick strike potential, the Redskins are not going to be able to match those opponents point for point. And you saw that last night. In those type of games, the Redskins are going to have to rely on their defense to keep the games close. Their running game is just so-so with Adrian Peterson and Chris Thompson. Their wide receiver core is weak. And Smith, again, doesn't have the type of arm or the type of downfield game to stretch the field. And the Redskins are simply not going to be able to put the big points on the board. And that's going to hamper them whenever they take on explosive opponents with big-time offenses such as the Saints. And that's why the Redskins were easily the go-against team last night. And that line was just a gift from the gambling gods. Now, tonight, we've got a couple of games. Well, betting-wise, unless you want to venture into the NHL, and a couple of handicappers have big NHL plays tonight. In college football, we got Appalachian State playing a Tuesday night game at Arkansas State in Sunbelt Conference play. And, of course, in baseball, we've got Game 4 of the ALDS between the Red Sox and the Yankees. Now, the big featured play tonight in college football would come from Ray Chadwick, who's coming off back-to-back 100-dime quadruple wager winners on, first of all, the Houston Texans, when he told you to buy down the half point, which got you the cover against Dallas on Sunday night, and last night on the Saints. Tonight, the 4th ever 100-dime quadruple wager release that he's had since he joined the site in August in college football. On that game between App State and Arkansas State, you get it for over half price off, just like those past 2 winners, the past 2 nights on the Saints and the Texans, by using a coupon code RAY, R-A-Y, his first name. So that's the big featured play there. All your other discount codes and coupons are available on the homepage. But listen, here for your complimentary play today, I'm going to break down that App State game in Sunbelt play. This is going to be App State's first Tuesday night game since October 27th, 1942. I realize most of you remember that game. It was a big game. App State that night in 1942 beat Catawba 7-0. Well, listen, what can I tell you about App State? App State is based in where? Come on. All of you out there, you know where Appalachian State is based out of? Boone, North Carolina. And I can tell you I've been to Boone, North Carolina twice in my life, which is probably more than most of you out there can say. The Mountaineers, listen, gained a lot of attention when they opened the season with a 45-38 overtime loss at Penn State as a 24.5-point dog. And let me tell you something. The Nittany Lions were damn lucky to escape in Happy Valley, which wasn't too happy that particular day at Beaver Stadium with that victory. Since then, they've gone 3-0 straight up and against the spread, outscoring their opponents by 169-23 margin. They won at North Carolina Charlotte, 45-9 as a 15-point favorite. They won at home against Gardner-Webb, 72-7, laying 44, and they won won at home against South Alabama 52-7, laying 25 points. So this is going to be their second road game. It would have really been their third road game, but one of those games happened to be postponed because of the hurricane earlier this season that affected a number of games on the East Coast. They've had 8 straight covers going back to last season. App State 8th in the nation in total defense, giving up just 277 yards a game. Now, granted, have they really played anybody other than Penn State? So let's give it a little asterisk next to that statistic. And they're also 11th in total offense. Their quarterback, Zach Thomas, completing 68.2% of his passes, averaging about 224 yards a game, 8 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. He had a great game against Penn State, by the way, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns. Their senior running back, Jalen Moore, averaging 6.6 yards a carry and 5 touchdowns. And he's going to be taking on an Arkansas State defense that's allowing 5.7 yards per carry. And App State runs a spread offense, so a lot of motion and a very effective offense at that. Now, you've got an Arkansas State team that really hasn't put it together offensively. They have won, actually, Arkansas State is coming off a loss to Georgia Southern in their last game 2 Saturdays ago, 28-21. They were a 3-point favorite in that game. They had won their 2 previous games by identical 29-20 scores, at home against UNLV, a game in which they had to rally, and at Tulsa. Of course, their second game of the season, after beating a cupcake in their season opener, they got pummeled by Alabama in Tuscaloosa 57-7. Nothing to be ashamed of there. But isn't it kind of interesting? Appalachian State goes to Penn State, gives the Lions all they can handle. And what happens to Arkansas State? They go to Alabama and they get annihilated. The player that Arkansas State has that is the most potent on the field is their quarterback, Justice Hansen, who was the is the reigning Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year. This year, he's completed almost 65% of his passes for 266 yards per game, 11 touchdowns, but the offensive line protection has been shaky. He's been sacked 14 times already this season, 6 times in the Georgia Southern game. Last year, he threw for almost 4,000 yards, 37 touchdowns, but 16 interceptions, and he was sacked 31 times a year ago. Arkansas State has failed to cover 8 of its last 10 games. Big number. App State is a 10-point road favorite. They were 9.5 earlier today. This is a big rivalry game. And not that these two teams have played that often, but a couple of years ago, Arkansas State went into App State and won the game. And this is a revenge game. They didn't meet last year, but I'll tell you what. Again, this is a monstrous price here, but I do believe Appalachian State is the better team in this Sun Belt battle, and I'm willing to lay the 10 points. Now, I'm giving it away as a free pick, so what does that tell you? I'm not betting on the game myself, but I do lean toward Appalachian State as your complimentary play. That'll do it. Wish you well. Talk to you again tomorrow.